have a hot take.
A student needs to be like the focal point.
I'm gonna get threats from faculty members. Oh, was that the podcast? Did you start the podcast?
So, are we gonna talk about your henna tattoo?
It's very subtle. It's almost completely
I didn't
off.
know that guys did henna. Is that a thing?
I mean,
It is now.
I suppose.
What was the significance?
I was at
behind
a music festival
Oh.
last weekend. Or not last weekend, the weekend before in Cleveland. There was a stand and
it? You got henna tattoos?
yeah.
So what, does it symbolize anything?
Nope.
You sure?
I don't, well maybe it does, but mine does.
Was there just like, could you like pick multiple like
Yeah.
styles or whatever? Okay.
It's like, it's the equivalent of like getting your face painted for adults.
I think we all understand the premise of henna.
Well, I mean, he's trying to figure out like, there's no meaning to.
But it's more like, why that
painting
one?
your
I'm
face.
sure
So
they
like,
had
why
tons
not
of
that one?
options.
Like,
Oh,
and why the position? Like, why not get it on your
Yeah.
bicep
Well,
or your
most
thigh
people
or something?
like
Or a manly part.
usually
Oh, you're right, girls
girls get
usually
it on
put
their
it-
hands,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought I don't really want to get it on my hands
Yeah.
because that looks like a girl
Yeah.
would do, and so I got
just
it on
went
my
6
arm.
inches up.
How much money would it take for you to get that as a real tattoo? That exact one.
How much money would
Yeah.
I need to be paid?
Yeah.
Like a flower with like ferns.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that like a peacock?
Also, I
quill?
didn't even ask for anything specific. I just said go wild.
Go
Yeah.
wild. Well, they played it really conservative.
Well, I mean,
Someone told me to go wild.
I trust, whatever design you want to do. Just she was doing similar designs on most people, and some people were poking to pictures in a book. But
Had you had anything to drink before this or no?
yeah, we were at a music festival.
Okay. Got it. If you had been
A sober
totally
music
sober,
festival.
would you have gotten a henna tattoo?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's fair.
Zach is trying to really get me serious. She's like, "Are you sure you would have done this?" It would have taken me many thousands of dollars to get paid to
get that
get this
tattoo.
permanently.
Yeah.
However, I don't think I'd ever thought of having a tattoo on my forearm right here. And
No.
after getting this, I was like, "Oh, it's actually kind of a good location."
Huh.
But I don't know what I would get, so probably not gonna get it.
Right location, wrong design.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sweet. What are we talking about today? What are we brainstorming?
I think.
Dan was supposed to come up with topics, right?
Yeah.
It's a bad.
Dan's always supposed to come up with topics.
But then never does.
So the way this usually works is I come up with a backup topic just in case.
I actually run this entire
And-
podcast, but I do the least amount of work possible.
And I have one handy. I think switch up the format a tiny bit rather
Okay.
than maybe a true like brainstorm throughout the whole time. Going through, I think chatbots are something that maybe more particularly to higher ed is, I think, very like hit or miss with certain people on how they feel about them, and maybe even their effectiveness. And so I was looking through a couple things earlier, and I forget their name. Startup Bonsai came out with a report basically off of a bunch of data that they had kind of put together using a lot of things from CNBC, from Drift, from user-like, and kind of collected tons of data and came up with things that I think, reading through them, I was like, whoa, that's even, I don't want to skew your answers, but more one way or the other than I thought.
You were
So I'd love
surprised.
to read a couple, get your kind of like take on them. And then I think if we run through like, what would a really good higher ed chatbot look like? Again, most of these, the way that chatbots are used typically is a little bit more like support tickety, but there are obviously tons of ways to use them. And so I think that's a rough, good approach, unless you prep something far superior.
Oh, I was trying to practice a spiel in the mirror last night to prep for today, but completely lost it all. So I think this sounds much better.
All right, let's do this one. Awesome.
All right, hit us with a stat.
Okay. What percentage of consumers have either a neutral or positive experience with chatbots?
A neutral or positive experience with chatbots?
Again, these are all like all industries.
All
This
consumers.
is not all consumers. This is not even, unless specified, it's the globe too. It's not just US.
I would assume it would be mostly neutral with like maybe like a quarter in the positive and a quarter in the negative.
So you're sitting at like 60-65% total.
Yeah, I guess so.
I was gonna say like 60 to 70.
Yeah. 87.2. Which also seems shockingly high. Again, given the nature of, I think at least a lot of the chatbots I've interacted with, they're like almost fully automated. Like I guess when you're typing with another person, it's probably less frustrating.
Yeah.
But with automate, I feel like, only my math
Yeah, I wonder-
sucks.
yeah, to your point-
8% being dissatisfied
Yeah.
seems so low.
But
Yeah,
to your point,
that's
I
pretty
wonder.
crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what the percentage of like neutral actually is compared
Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, what kind of stats you got? Huh?
Do you have any on those? Oh, no, they left that one out. The positive was like 2%. So like, oh, what if we include neutral too? 87%. Yeah, that's
We can
what I
go.
would do.
We can go ask our friends at Drift. Actually,
That's true.
That stat
Ah, yeah,
came
yeah.
from
Ask
them.
them,
So
yeah. Drift, if you're listening,
we can hound them down.
Shout out to Alex Carlisle.
Next episode. Okay.
That's interesting. Okay.
Another one. What percentage of chatbots would you say are like from start to finish of the actual flow? Meaning you don't abandon a conversation out of being annoyed, not getting what you wanted, or for any other reason you would abandon it. Found it on a website, whatever.
But from the time that you start a conversation to the time that you've learned what you came to learn or been able to do what you came to do,
Yeah.
how many of those are completed? Is that
Right.
what you're saying?
Like the
Okay.
ones when you get to like, is there anything I can help
And
you
you
with?
say no.
And it's either end chat
Yeah.
or I have another
Yeah.
question and you hit
Yeah.
end chat.
Yeah.
Like what percentage of them do you think start to finish?
I'd say 40%. 30 to 40.
Yeah, I would say something pretty low, like 20, 30, 40, something.
You're so much dumber than Zach. 68.9%, which
68.9%.
also is, I
That is
feel like,
very high.
insanely high.
Wow.
Who is Bonsai? Are they a chatbot company?
Yeah, for real. Which is also just thinking about like the longer ones. I guess it's when you're getting a quick response from a person, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But to go through the AI, like, this, that, where you're basically just doing a multiple choice test and it's weeding through
Well, I
the
also
different
wonder what they're
branches.
talking. Like, how are they define? I wonder how they're defining chatbot. Like, I wonder if it's like it can start off as a chatbot, but then like it transfers to a live person at some point. You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I
they
assume
say
that would
AI
still be-
powered chatbot technology. They don't
Okay.
define what that is.
Yeah.
I feel like that probably skews more towards just automated and not personal.
Yeah,
but
no, that's what my assumption would be too. That's interesting. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that means the tech has come a long way. I mean, what are your guys' like best and worst experiences with a chatbot? I feel like all of my good ones are with like airlines actually, and all of my crappy ones are with Bank of America. And like any
that
higher
is
ed.
so
yeah.
funny you said that.
Yeah.
Mine was banks, and they're the best.
You think banks are the best?
Ah.
Yeah.
Bank of America
yeah.
just has a shitty chatbot, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've used Ally.
Capital One.
Capital One.
Capital One's
I
is
use
amazing.
Capital One's
both
good.
in their app
Yeah.
and on the website is amazing.
Yeah.
And then Ally is another one that I
I
really
haven't used
like.
theirs.
Both from banking and like they have their own investment
Yeah.
tool. Is great. Also, there was another stat in here about banking and chatbots are projected to handle 75 to 90% of healthcare and banking queries by 2022,
Jeez.
Yeah.
aka this year.
I mean, most of them are like, "What's my routing number? Like, what's my account
yeah,
number?"
yeah,
So
yeah.
like, that's like 90% of the reasons why people use this. What I hate about chatbots is I hate that when you do need to talk to a person, it's kind of like when you call customer support for like a major brand and like they're trying to do everything in their power to prevent you from having to talk to a live person.
Right.
I hate chatbots that are written that way. Like
Yeah.
if I genuinely need to, like I'm a millennial, like I'm not interested in talking to somebody on the phone unless I really think I can't find this answer
Yeah.
and or I've tried.
Yeah.
And what I hate about some people is like some companies is their contact info will trigger the chatbot first and they make you go through like 17 steps and then you might be connected with like a customer support representative.
So would you prefer that they didn't have a chatbot at all?
No, what I really wish happened, and I do think that this is the future of like AI, is helping consumers will get a sense for the kinds of questions that tools like chatbots will be able to answer.
Yeah.
And then also the nuances that will always exist where,
Yeah.
at least for the foreseeable future, you'll have to connect with a human.
Yeah.
So what I wish happened is I wish that there was a better way for brands to help their customers better distinguish between the two categories.
Yeah.
Like here are like the 10,000 things that our chatbot is fully capable of answering for you and helping you with. And then here are the things where like if you need to close this account, but you want to open another, but then you want this thing to happen, or you want to transfer $2 to this account, $17 to that account, and you want to do this all in like one transaction, obviously you're going to have to talk to a customer support representative to make that happen. So I guess what I would just say is I wish that there was a better line of demarcation between the two camps of questions.
How would you feel? There's a question for both of you. Let's say you're, going through it like for a purchasing decision. There's a chatbot, and it immediately first question is, go the automated route or speak to. Wait 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes to chat with a rep. Would you go through the automated route and start and just see how far you could get, or would you just 100% I'm going to wait because the AI one is always a pain?
No, 100%. I would try to make it work with the chatbot first.
Yeah. At what threshold of time waiting would you change your mind?
2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think somewhere between 5 and 10 is when,
Yeah.
So if you saw 5 to 10, you wouldn't still try to answer it with the chatbot?
No. So that I would try, but then if it's 5 minutes, 5 to 10, I don't know. I feel like usually I probably would just try to click around. However, I feel like most of the time, and it's kind of to what you were saying earlier, I know if something automated is going to be able to solve this, or not. One thing I actually really appreciate about, I think the Capital One app does it, is it pretty quickly, it just gives you the support phone number that you can call.
Yeah.
And it at least is, rather than running you around on oh, let me keep trying to solve your problem when I really can't, it just, gives you the phone number. And then obviously you're still gonna have to call and probably be on hold for a bit. But at least it's saying I give up, I can't help you, and at least I'm telling you that 3 or 4 questions in rather than after, 10 minutes of trying to click around.
Yeah.
And I feel like most people probably do already have a good sense of this is something that can be, solved automated.
I think if you're below the age of a certain age, you might.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's still a long way to go, I think, in chatbot technology. I just don't think it's it's not at a level where I will pick it 100% of the time over talking to a person.
Yeah.
And I think that that's, and even for things that are relatively simple, I think that hopefully the next 5 years this will change, but I don't think it's there yet.
Yeah. I feel like even a basic chatbot is better than nothing. So I bought one of those Ego lawnmowers.
Oh yeah.
They're a massive distributor of lawnmowers, leaf blowers, all the yard tools. Don't have any type of chatbot. I got a faulty one. I was trying to get a return thing. Their website's also not the best. And so navigating through it wasn't super easy. And so I was looking for I went to their contact us thing. I thought maybe the chatbot will be on there. Maybe it's only on certain pages. So navigating around, couldn't find it. The only way to figure out how to return the product is to call them and ask them, which is also just bad customer experience.
Yeah.
It's whatever. But even a chatbot that was you have a preloaded answer. When somebody says, how do I return this product? This person just goes on their script and is reads this thing. Just make that a chatbot.
Exactly.
It can't be that hard. And also you can send me whatever I need to print out to then fill out to then slap on the box to send it back. It just seems that's an easy win. Why would you not do that? And now I'm annoyed. Unfortunately, I bought another one, and so it didn't really affect me too much, but it still annoys me.
Yeah.
What I would say, and this isn't that hot of a take, but it's it's a warm take, is you're better off having a super dumb FAQ chatbot or an incredibly sophisticated bot.
Yeah.
The middle ground sucks. And Bank of America's is the middle ground. Sorry to shit on them again, but it's there's multiple, you have to click a question. You can't query your own question.
Oh yeah.
And the question, the options are pretty expansive, but then you get far enough and down the tree, and then you're no, but the answer you delivered isn't what I was looking for. And then going back is such a pain. So it's way more comprehensive than there's 3 paths and you have to pick one of the 3, but it's not at the point where it's using true AI and machine learning where it's actually a smart bot.
Yeah.
And I think companies are better, and we should transition this to higher ed soon, but I think educational institutions here are much better at I would encourage them to save the money until they can buy into something truly next gen.
Yeah.
And or just settle for super simple FAQ bot, make it really clear what this is.
Yeah.
The middle ground is the worst place to be.
And I feel, little number 8 on there, 25 top stats. The number one use case for chatbots is to get a quick answer to a query. Which of course, like that only makes sense. And I feel like, even for higher ed, think about, I feel like what we hear all the time is, we hop on calls, we are chatting with leads, but we answer the same stupid questions over and over again of like financial aid packages, and it's stuff that exists on the website that nobody wants to go dig and find. So like, I'd rather just call you because I can get this over with in 15 minutes. And it's a you problem, not a me problem. Whereas if you had a chatbot where it's like, what are financial aid options for the, like, whatever, what are credit hours needed for this program, what's cost, like, and you just made those things that you already have easily accessible, people are going to come in, get that one thing. Ideally, you're capturing their name too, and an email, and then they're out. And it's that easy, rather than them scheduling a call and then they're asking you a billion questions. You're wasting your time. You're like, this is all on the website. Why am I answering this?
I'm curious. So as far as the institution is concerned, do you think it's better for them to make the actual goal of the chatbot just to capture information while kind of teasing with a few of those super, super basic questions, rather than actually putting a lot of time into making it probably one of those intermediate chatbots? Because at the end of the day, like, at least maybe you're not making a really great chatbot, but at least you going back to the last episode, have a good method of quickly capturing someone's information.
I think there are pros and cons to both. I think one of the pros of not asking for that information for a simple answer is transparency of, again, like thinking about cost of a program. If it costs too much, great, you're gonna get their email, they see the cost and like can't afford it. Nothing you're gonna just try and like market to them in your mediocre comm flow is gonna convince them that like, okay,
that's a good point.
That's actually worth it, or now I can randomly afford it because you said these things. That said, I feel like if somebody has maybe deeper questions, trying to lead them to a landing page to submit a form or to take an action in the chatbot that is like form conversion worthy. Again, if you have content of like downloading an ebook or an infographic or these other things and trying to tease them with that, that's paired with like, what does it cost? And somebody sees a number and then you have like a, industry guide for a program, at least then it's like, well, here's what you can make if you enter this field, graduate in 3 years, hopefully pay this off. Here's what that looks like. Download this guide.
I think too that, like, I was talking to our friends over at Mongoose, and I was asking, they have like 500, 600, maybe even 700 customers, obviously that are all higher education institutions, and their like largest market segment is actually like student affairs, student success offices who are buying chatbots specifically for like student support. And so like we're talking about it obviously as a lead gen asset for probably the enrollment management team, but I think also like these tools are obviously being used by current students. I think like I don't know. I go back and forth on this. I think it would be a much wiser investment so a lot of times, like, depending on how sophisticated the chatbot is, like, you have like one chatbot that exists throughout the website, and like when you start your question, it makes you start with like pick a path, current student, like prospective student, like alumni, whatever it is, faculty member, and then everything else triggers from there. I actually think, like, when I think about my own behavior, I think it would be wiser to have a simpler pop-up on a particular, like at the page level, or even like the sub-nav menu level of like, if I'm on the financial aid page or I'm reading about financial aid content, seeing a bot, clicking on that, and then it asks me 3 questions. Like, it knows contextually that I'm already in one particular state of mind and I'm in one like area of research. And then it can serve me up a much more specific answer because it understands already where I am. And I think that, like, my advice to schools would be, if your chatbot technology allows for this, pick your 10 most visited website pages by audience. So your 10 most visited website pages by prospective students. And then rather than having one chatbot that serves those 10 pages, what if you had, 3 or 4 different chatbots, or maybe a chatbot per page, that could allow you to spin up these, even if it's a simple FAQ bot, spin up sort of like questions that are a bit more specific, a little bit like niched down, and then I think you deliver and you serve like a better user experience.
Yeah, I feel like you could just develop like thinking about it as, again, like the if-then branch all the way through. Develop one for your homepage that sits up here. The first if-then is really just like the core nav options on your homepage, and then you have that branch, and you can just take that, and for any of those pages and those sub pages even in that like financial aid thing, you just use that same bot for all of them. And then you have like, your athletics page, for example, and you have that athletics part of the master kind of like tree of how things go, and you use that on all athletics pages. And like, it doesn't need to be, wildly customized to like you're on the baseball page and it's like, you want to learn more about baseball? But if it's just the athletics bot in general of like, chatting with a recruitment guy or whatever, because again, I was just scrolling through these stats again, the average satisfaction rate of bot-only chats is 87.58% for bot-only, which is higher than ones that are bot and human.
That's fascinating.
So I feel like, again, probably because a lot of the bot-only ones have just been done really well. And it's like they're so streamlined. It's just you're click, 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 thinking, click, 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 and you get to where you need to be, and you're like, sweet, thanks, see ya. And that's it. Rather than the human one where it's like, they got to, hey, how's your day going? And then you see the little typing bubbles for another 30 seconds. My name's blah. I'll be assisting you today. Another 30 seconds where it's just like, get on with it. Whereas a bot can really just here.
And I'd assume if you don't have as good a bot, you can be like, oh, we'll just put a person at the end.
Yeah.
So you have a shitty bot with a person who's also
like where you're trying to overcompensate.
Anyway.
Have you guys ever used, I'm thinking about like my interactions with chatbots, and I feel like I only interact with a chatbot when I have like a problem.
Yeah.
Have you used a chatbot to like explore further or like do deeper research? Like I think a lot of the times when we talk about, even like when we talk about chatbots, it's like, give people the opportunity to like learn more about your program through the chatbot. Like I feel like almost, I'm sure this isn't entirely true, but like I feel like almost 100% of the time that I've used a chatbot, it's because I had a problem. Like I needed to get in touch with customer support to like return a product, or I couldn't find my routing number for my bank, or whatever, the insert problem here. Have you guys ever used a chatbot for anything other than to solve like a problem?
No. I don't think so. I've never clicked on one of those ones that's on a homepage that's like, oh, welcome to our site. How can we help you? You want to learn more about our product or our service or whatever? Like, I've never clicked on those. Yeah, usually it's like...
what? I did. I did the other day, actually.
You did?
Yeah.
For what? What was it?
For solar panels on your roof. And there was a thing that was like, if you're in certain areas of Virginia, you can qualify for some huge discount.
Okay.
All this other stuff. See how much you can, like, basically get off
So
of
they had
your
like
thing.
a good hook.
And I was like, oh,
generic,
interesting. And I had already been thinking about them a little bit.
Yeah.
After talking with one of our other coworkers, and I was like, oh, solar panels would be a good idea. The sun sets like right behind rises and sets behind our house. It was like perfect. And so I was like, let me go through this and see. And so I'm basically it's a quiz where you're just answering questions of like, how much is your electric bill usually, and like all these other things. And then I went through it, and then it was like, give us your phone number at the end. And I was like, crap. And then the guy called me immediately, and I was like, damn it. But like, I went through and it told me that I had qualified for the program, and so I was like, all right, that's helpful to know though, because like that is big
cool,
savings.
though. Okay. Yeah.
And if you were to buy it just on your own and have somebody install it, I mean, it's a couple $1,000s. That's a big difference itself. Yeah. That's the most recent one I can think of, but I feel like
that's actually a really good example, and like applying it to higher ed too. Like, whether it's a net price calculator or like helping students understand the real cost of college, whatever it is, like finding a way to query that information in the context of a bot could be super helpful.
Yeah. Or even identifying programs of like just your interest. Maybe not even like trying to qualify people too much, but a little bit more of like where your interests sit at a high level above programs to help you decipher what might be a good path for you and what a particular university has to offer.
What about bots? Like, have you, like the bot that you just talked about using, like, was it like a, what the hell is it called? Like a branch to logic bot, or like could you query a question?
No.
You couldn't query a question?
No.
Okay.
Because
See,
it was
I
more of
think-
like you're trying to see if you qualify for these things.
Yeah.
And the qualifications are not fluid, they're like rigid. It's you have to meet certain criteria, and so we need to judge you by that criteria.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened at the end after I entered my like core information. But I feel like it was just like an awesome, you qualify, we'll follow up with, they have like their preferred install company and, sourcing company, whatever. And we'll follow up with you, whatever. And that was it. And like they ended the conversation.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking at the end, I was like, cool, I qualify. Like that was my big takeaway. It wasn't, I can't even remember that company's name.
Yeah.
Like,
Clearly they didn't have a strong brand, but
right.
yeah.
But when I go back, like they've emailed me, they've texted me.
Yeah, yeah.
I have the guys. He is a dude texted me, and he was like, "Hey, this is blah from Solar Panel Systems, Virginia. Can I call you and can we chat about potentially getting you set up on solar?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things. One of these days, I'm probably just gonna be like, "Yeah, all right, let me call him
Yeah.
and like figure it out."
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think that when it comes to like a good follow-up, like I feel like texting is, and maybe this is topic for another episode, but like when I get texts from like companies or services that I'm actually interested in, and they're just offering some basic information or like an opportunity to ask some questions, I feel like I appreciate that much more than say assuming that they transferred me to a person at the end of the chat. Because then, I don't know what questions I'm going to be having coming up. And like you said, like, whenever you're actually going to get the solar panels, that's when you're going to follow up with the guy.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit last time of like, what information would you give up?
Yeah.
It was like, I'd give up my phone number, but only if there's a text option.
Yeah.
If you call me, it's a random number, I'm not answering.
Exactly.
But like, and I feel like it sits there in your messages and like may eventually get buried, but if you bring it up once a week even, and thinking about the volume at which you get text too, like, what percentage of your texts from people you actually want to be talking to? 95, 99%. So like to see one random it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And it's not too annoying. It's pretty easy to ignore. But it does kind of sit there that you can go find it later when you do want it, it's probably a little bit more manageable than like your inbox, for example.
One thing I've even started doing is sometimes I don't even know if people have good texting platforms that allow you to chat with someone. So sometimes I get an automated text and I just reply with like a question or like, for like restaurants or whatever, they're like, reply 1 if you confirm.
Yeah.
I'll confirm. I'll be like, actually, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. And I don't know if it's going anywhere. If it was going somewhere, then at least I can find out that way. But I feel like I do really like having the option to text, some kind of business or company if I'm trying to get in touch, which is just like a permanently installed chatbot on your phone.
Also, really funny, random. Their 23rd stat. 46% of consumers think chatbots are being used to stop them from reaching a live agent.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
I'm like, that's kind of the point of the automated ones.
Yeah.
Like, which are also the ones that people seem to like more.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm pretty skeptical, only because like what is the percentage of like when you finish a chat, how often are you discussing? How often are you reporting what your experience was like? Between 1 to 10.
If they
report your
ask
experience.
in the chat, I'll do it every
You do
time. Yeah.
Even if you hated it. Sorry.
Oh, if I hate it, I'll
No, sorry.
definitely
Even if you had a good experience,
Yeah.
you would rate it.
Typically, it's like a 0 through 10, or it's like
I always
when you go to the
always
bathroom
leave
in the
feedback.
airport and they have the sad face, the medium face, and the happy face.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of those.
I always report when like I've had a shitty experience, but when I've had a good experience, I don't know.
If it's as easy as click a number, I'll do it because it's like, great.
Yeah.
If it's like, write your response. How did you feel about
they
Kyle
ask you
today?
3
And it's like,
questions.
no, we're not doing that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I feel like for schools too. I mean, at a bare minimum, you need some sort of FAQ chatbot that's going to be able to answer and really sort of like protect your in admissions people, protect your marketing folks from having to answer really basic questions like, when is the app deadline?
Right.
Like, do you have any events I can come to? All that stuff should absolutely be built into the context of chat. I think and maybe this is just my own consumer preferences, I think it should always be easy to get in touch with a person. Meaning, like, be very clear that you can get these questions answered in this fashion, but with a click of a button, as easy as it is to trigger the chatbot, it should be just as easy to get your questions answered by a real human, especially when it comes to education, because education is freaking expensive, right? Like, you are not just selling a lawnmower, let alone solar panels, which are also relatively expensive. Like, you're not selling a pair of shoes. Like, you're selling a $30,000, $10,000, $50,000 like promise that maybe one day you'll get a job, right?
Yeah.
And so I hate and there's a lot of content out there that I feel like tells higher ed, like, if you just do this, you just need a chatbot. It's gonna, you'll have so much time you won't know what to do with it. And it's like, no, like that's, I just don't buy into that way of thought.
Yeah.
What I do buy into is help service the people that might not want to get on a call with you.
Right.
Help service the people that might be earlier on in their journey to enrollment, but always make it incredibly easy for them to connect to a real person. And the chatbots to this day that don't make it easy for me to connect to a real person if I have a serious problem, and that's my preferred method of communication. Those are the ones that I find annoying. Like, at the end of the day, higher ed is obsessed with personalization. They keep talking about it. Get personalized, and personalized means some people are going to prefer to pick up a phone and talk to you, and other people are going to prefer to use your chatbot to answer their questions.
Yeah, and I think at the very least you need have a question, even if you don't have. And I think the big maybe rebuttal to what you said is a lot of people will say, well, we don't have the staff to have somebody just available to answer questions. Great, put an email there, have a support email or something that gets sent out to X amount of people that you think are able to respond to most questions, or even to a department, and then let them answer those questions over email, but they have to have some level of timeliness. Like, it cannot be, let's wait 3 days to respond to this thing. But I think that's, again, the big thing is time, and when you don't have time, what's a good alternative? I think AI, not even AI, just automation for as much as you can, and then have a backup for the people that do want that personal touch. Give them that opportunity, and I think the people that want that personal touch too, if your automation is good, they're going to ask you questions that aren't just obvious questions, and those are the people that you should be having conversations with, because they're probably the most serious. But I get when people are hesitant because of time. I just think invest the time up front to build the automated chatbot that answers a lot of the questions where the content already exists, and that's going to be your biggest savings of time.
Also, and not all technology allows for this, which is so freaking annoying. I would only pick a provider that like does allow for this, but like, even if you can't, and even if like someone queries a custom question and you don't have like the perfect answer, I think schools should care about what people are putting into those chatbots. So if you don't ever give people the opportunity to type anything, that's like a big no-no. Like, let people make sure that there is a field for them to be able to type things. Watch and look and analyze the words that they're using, the things that they're looking for, and use that to build out your chat flows or your queries.
And even just build out an FAQ page. That's what people are wondering, and they're clearly either not finding, or that's the forefront of their questions at an entry point. Make those more prevalent.
Well, great, guys. This is fun. Want to plug, as always, our tried and true partner, Doubletake Promotional Marketing. And these guys are just an incredible group of people that help you build epic swag for your school. We're entering a new academic year here. The fall is upon us. Get your prospective students cool swag, mugs, koozies. Although maybe, are koozies inappropriate for high school students? Maybe. I don't know. I guess you could put a Coke in here,
Dan was drinking a Soylent out of it on our call.
There you go. Dan was drinking a Soylent out of the call. So get a freaking cool koozie, get a cool, hat, scarves, whatever, pendants. You go to Doubletake Promotional Marketing for all of your new swag needs this fall, and be sure to tell Matt and his team that Enrollify sent you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Peace out, Girl Scout.
That was good. Honestly. I'm going to do the Porky the Pig. That's all, folks. All right, we good?